Go first.
I started working for Diane, working with counsel in the court in December of 2019. One thing I was doing, as well as working on answering phones, was to put the records of everybody that had been talked to by the phone during the year 2019 into the computer, because we had to get that stuff so that we had an accurate count to submit to the state Supreme Court. But they want to know information. They want to know who, men or women, people from what county, ages, types of cases, things like that. And so you got to get it put in the computer so you can make a count. So that's what I started out doing first. I like sitting and talking to people and brainstorming and saying, get out your pad of paper and you start making a list of what the things are that you are going to want to say to the judge. You've decided, and you and I have talked about the fact that what you want to do is you want to get custody of your children from your ex-spouse, and there are 3 reasons, he's doing meth and blah, 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 blah. And so what you have to do is not just go into the courtroom and yell like a screaming Mimi. So I like to help people figure what they want to say to the judge, whether it's something they're writing to the judge or whether it's something they're saying, or both.
You talk about liking being able to brainstorm with people, and you mentioned that sometimes the ex is on meth. What would people do if they didn't have us to talk to?
Go in and say horrible things in court. Can you even imagine? Sometimes I come up with some ideas, but I also want to try to help them figure out their own ideas to come up with. It's a good thing to help people like that.
You helped a woman who had kind of a really sort of mentally disturbed but very violent soon-to-be ex-husband. And you did, because it was a special circumstance, because there was just that much danger and volatility in the situation. You did wind up going to court with her. And I know you can't always do that, but what was that like? Was that rewarding?
It was rewarding working with her. Just talked to her again today. He got sentenced to a year on probation. I'm really happy that this woman stayed tough and said, no, I don't want my boys to have their lives all messed up by how violent their biological father is. I'm really happy that she, A, got the divorce, B, got her maiden name back she wanted. And I'm really hoping that they can have a whole other year of peace, a whole year of, working on, they wanted to get a place to live. They want to have the kids in school and doing well. People have thoughts and dreams, and sometimes they need the court to help them where they can realize those dreams without the person who's been trying to batter or injure them. I'm very happy for them.
That's great. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Rala? Rala, you've been with us a long time.
My name is Rala Williams, and I started in Bloomington as Diane's assistant and office manager. And I think I did that about 7 years. And then I came to Vigo County to try to spread some goodwill and kind of introduce to the Vigo County legal community, because it was a new county that we had received. My background is in social services. I've done a lot of direct service and working with children and families, and the need for legal services is huge. I think probably one of the things that's most frustrating to me is that a lot of funder and the public in general doesn't put legal services on the same level as getting somebody help with, food stamps or housing or things of that nature that are considered immediate needs. What people don't understand is that legal services are often what protects those immediate needs for food and shelter and safety. So I wish that more people, that the public out there understood that legal services really has the potential of someone's life in a big way. So I've enjoyed working with the clients. I've done a little bit of everything, I think. I've worn a lot of hats over the last 12 years.
Melanie, that has you next. What do you want to talk about?
It's really difficult because, I came on board in when COVID started crashing on our shores. So I haven't had as much contact with the clients, but it's been really interesting and eye-opening to get a lot of background on how everything works, how much work is involved in trying to take care of all the services that people need. And it is a true need. People tend to put civil cases after criminal cases in importance, but really these are legal issues that control how you live, how you can move through the world, just every day to day, like whether it's custody, domestic violence, or working through problems with landlords, or having to declare bankruptcy or work with creditors in order to be able to move forward in life. Those are the things that are everyday and necessary for people to get legal help with, but we don't necessarily think of them as consumers of legal needs. I wish everybody could see how much the impact has been on our clients. I wish everybody could talk to the clients and say, and hear how their lives have been improved by having experienced professionals being able to help them with these things that crop up in all of our lives at one point or another, and that a lot of us feel lost with, and particularly people who don't have necessarily the means to hire an attorney themselves, and the relief that comes from having access to that expertise and to that help. And I've been a beneficiary of that myself years ago, and it made all the difference in the world. I got to see it from that angle a little bit, but the sheer need, the scope of it across, even just our part of the state, but across the state, this program really needs to be out front and available for all the people that need it to see and to take advantage of.
Picking up where Melanie talked about there being so much need, there really, really is. And I think that's what's hardest about our jobs is there was a study back in 2008, I think it was, that said that for every person at 125% of poverty level who has a legal problem, there is one free or low cost attorney for every 8,850 of those folks. And if you took that up to 200% of poverty level, which really isn't that much, it's like making a single person making $24,000 a year. That need increases to there's one free attorney for every 16,000 of those folks who have a legal problem. So I've been doing this for 18 years now. It'll be 18 years in November. And before that, I worked for Legal Services, Indiana Legal Services, who also do incredibly valuable work. And what has always been hard about this is there's just so many people who need the help. And part of it is that there are not the financial resources, because sometimes we go into court and, oh my gosh, it would be so much easier if this person could afford an expert witness to explain an issue in their case more exactly to the judge. Or it'd be so much easier if this person could afford a guardian ad litem for their kids so that the guardian ad litem who represents the kids could tell the kids' side of the story. And Monroe County is able to appoint guardians ad litem for free, but a lot of the more rural counties don't have the funding to do that. So, and that can make a huge amount of difference. So that's part of it, is just not having the resources that way. But most of it is simply just not having the attorneys who can do that, because a lot of it is just manpower, woman power. We have a phenomenal group of people who volunteer, but it's just always hard. It's just always hard to find people. So a lot of what we do has to be creative options. And as Deb talked about, brainstorming with people and how they represent themselves, because it's an incredibly hard system to navigate if you don't have the training. I've been an attorney for 30 years. I went to law school for 3 years before that. And whenever I go into court, I'm incredibly stressed. And I'm not the one who has something major at stake. I'm not the one who has, oh, whether I'm going to continue to have a house, or whether I'm going to continue to have an apartment, or am I going to be able to continue seeing my kids? I learned just yesterday that you smoke meth from light bulbs, and I can't imagine being someone going into a hearing and knowing that my kid's father or my kid's mother was abusing drugs that way. And oh my God, what are they going to do if I can't make the point to the judge that this is someone who's dangerous, who's not only going to be a drug abuser, but broken light bulbs are dangerous in and of themselves. So all of these things that we work in are so important to people's lives, and we're perpetually underfunded. We're always struggling to reach everybody, and we don't give all the people who need help all the help that they need. But I love doing it. And it's certainly not because I'm a saint. It's because I was raised poor, and there were a few crucial times that people helped me, like Melanie said, and I really appreciated it. And it's just enjoyable to help people. It's interesting, and it's also really, it's kind of exalting. I've had law students tell me before that they walked out of here and just felt like they were walking on air, because it feels good to help people. It feels good to have purpose to your life. It feels good to be able to know that you're connecting with another human in this way. And then the other thing is that not always, I mean, we get some people who are entitled, or who are nasty, or who, for whatever reason, don't have the emotional wherewithal to be appreciative of the help we're trying to give them. But I'd say 99, 98% of the time, people are just so grateful. Whenever I did counsel in the court, which is what Deb does all the time now, people would just say, oh my God, thank God you were here. I don't know what I would have done without you. And there have been so many times, I mean, we work a lot with abuse victims, and I think people have the impression that if you're in that situation, you tend to stay in that situation, and you go on to more foolish relationships and all that sort of thing. But that's not true. I know any number of people who, in my personal life, my family life, in many ways, who they got out of that situation and they've gone on to live enriching, useful, pathogen-free lives without this knucklehead who was abusive to them. But it's incredibly important to be able to make that break and to be safe while you're doing it, and have the confidence that people are going to listen to you and that you're going to be able to get what you need. We also do bankruptcy. And I don't know how people feel about bankruptcy in general, because, you know, some people are really, oh, you really need to pay your debts. People do it frivolously, but that's also not true. If you have a medical emergency here, it's very hard, if you don't have really good insurance, to be able to pay for it. And there are a lot of people who get caught that way. A lot of us live paycheck to paycheck. And I say us because that was very true of me until fairly recently. Live paycheck to paycheck. So if there's something that goes wrong, like if you lose a job or COVID strikes, you're just you're just out of luck with your debts. So it's very important if you want to be able to move forward that you not have creditors taking a fourth of your paycheck so that you can move forward with your life and keep the lights on and keep utilities on and maintain housing and all that sort of thing. We also do any number of other things. We do a lot of guardianships.
I was in court a lot today, so I didn't answer the phone as many times. But Monday and Tuesday, I took in 4 guardianships that we need, 4 new ones that we need to do, and a couple of divorces.
Yeah. And the thing that I don't think that people realize that is that if you don't have a guardianship, you cannot get medical care for them. You cannot get put them on your insurance plan. If you are somebody who, and this happens a lot of times because I've had great grandparents had taken kids, little kids. If you have Social Security disability or Social Security retirement, if you have guardianship of these kids, you get another third. Like, say, for example, you get $900 a month, you get another $300 for each kid. So that's a major thing that people need. So it's really important that people get guardianships. But you mentioned too that you were in court. We do the housing and eviction prevention program with the Monroe County courts, with the Community Justice and Mediation Center, and with Justice Unlocked. The program is that people can get free legal advice, both landlords who don't have attorneys and people who are getting evicted and need legal advice. And I think that's an enormous help with all the things that community justice and mediation, they're able to do mediation between the landlord and tenant. Deb, through us and Justice Unlocked, lawyers are able to talk to tenants and landlords too, because the small landlords have also really suffered in this pandemic because they aren't getting any rent at all. And most of the time, or at least some of the time, that's a major part of their income. So yeah, and a huge shout out to the courts who we have. You talked about the Supreme Court giving us grants, or maybe you didn't mention it was the Supreme Court, but huge shout out to the courts that the counties where we do have counsel in the court clinics, and those are Clay, Greene, Lawrence, Monroe, Morgan, Owen, Putnam,